No! No! I reject the premise of this!
Well, welcome to Red Hot Steelers Takes. I got to tell you, it's been a draining evening. If you would, I don't understand. We traded up for Jimmy Bernard. Okay, regardless of how you feel about it, all right, it's a wide receiver. They liked him. Okay, fine. And then, I mean, let's be honest. Drew Aller would have been there at pick 99. He would have been there at pick 121. And you pick him at 76. The George Pickens pick. Pregnon was on the board. Chris Bell was on the board. Multiple guys who could help you were on the board. Jermod McCoy is still on the board. I don't understand. What are you thinking? What are you doing? Okay. Drew Aller has faded and melted in every big spot he's ever been in. Okay. And maybe he's a young guy, got injured. And if you want to blame James Franklin, okay, fine, whatever. And maybe 2 or 3 years like Mike McCarthy did with Aaron Rodgers, he turns him into something. Okay, maybe. You're taking a shot in the 3rd round. Okay, maybe. But based on the guys who are on the board, and this is a consistent theme right now with this whole draft. IMAX, who I like, you could have traded back and got him. I don't think you could have waited until the 2nd round to get him. You would have had to trade up in the 2nd round to get him. So, okay, a little bit of a reach. Bernard, I think he was the 4th best wide receiver on the board at the time. Okay, a little bit of a reach. I get it. You like him. Okay, wide receiver is kind of a subjective position. So I'm willing to go with you on the wide receiver thing. You take a shot at a quarterback at 76 that you could have had at 99 or 121. I don't understand. Dalen Everett's an interesting pick. I actually kind of like that one. Derpy, I'll throw this up on the screen. It depends how you feel about Bernard. It really does. I've got to watch a little more tape on him. I mean, I said earlier in the rant, when the first thing the commentators talk about is, hey, this guy doesn't have top end speed, but he's a good route runner. He's a good technician. I don't love a slow slot receiver. Could it maybe work? Sure. You know, guys who are sometimes thought of as not burners turn out to be fantastic NFL wide receivers. So yeah, I'm with you on it. I'm a maybe. But then, like you said, you go Drew Aller at 76. I don't get it. Everett's an interesting guy. He's got some talent. He can play in the slot. There's some talk that, there is potential there. I don't know that you go Everett over McCoy, but you did need a true slot. So he's also a guy who's a 3rd round talent. So I don't think he was a reach there at 85. Now, it's kind of sad to say at this point, but is there a better, more feel-good Pittsburgh pick? I mean, somebody got in somebody's ear and said, hey, you better save this shit because we're going to take a lot of heat. And they go out, they pick Jimmy Dunker. Look, if you're a Steeler fan, you got to love this guy. I mean, the big flowing redheaded mullet. He's a really good run blocker. He's got some flexibility that he can play tackle. He was always projected as a guard. And based on the new coaching staff, IMAX is not the project that a lot of people put out and said he was. He's not a project tackle. Go watch his film against Malachi Lawrence, the Cowboys' 1st round pick, and against and a lot of people put it up. Nick Farabaugh put it up earlier today. A lot of people put it up. His film against David Bailey. He is a nice player. Okay. And I think he's a starter day one. He's going to have to show it in training camp a little bit, and Dylan Cook will compete, but only picked Aller because the BS crybaby Penn State fans. You know, I tweeted out right after, and I said, this is the Kenny Pickett mistake times 10. And the reason I say that is because at least you were trying with Kenny Pickett to right the Dan Marino wrong. I wrote articles back at the time that said this was a huge mistake, that, you know, and then I kind of believed in him for a year because he's a Steeler and I root for the Steelers and he's going to be my guy. And I'm going to have to kind of do the same with Aller. I responded to Alan Saunders earlier on X and said, look, I would probably be more upset about the Drew Aller pick at 76. I'm not happy about it. I'd be more upset if I thought he would ever start a game. I don't. The Penn State quarterback history is ridiculous. Okay. And I made this point a couple months ago when we were doing draft shows. Kerry Collins is the only Penn State quarterback who has ever played meaningful football in the NFL. Okay. Your next best quarterback is arguably Christian Hackenberg, with all due respect to Todd Blackledge, who was drafted in the first round, but really never materialized as an NFL quarterback. It had a nice little run of it as a backup quarterback, though. He was in the league. In all fairness, Blackledge is probably the second best Penn State quarterback. But third is Christian Hackenberg. And if you don't remember who that is, there's a good goddamn reason for that, because he never really played any games. I mean, Drew Aller is kind of a Paxton Lynch to me. Everybody's like, oh, he's got a cannon. He's got a big arm. And I'm so upset I'm coughing. No, Drew Aller is not that guy. He's not that guy. He's not going to be that guy. You know, if he sat for 3 years and then all of a sudden showed up like Aaron Rodgers did, and if they did the Jordan Love, Aaron Rodgers thing, but those guys had something, you know, that he doesn't. Number one, they were first-round draft picks. Number two is, man, they got some moxie to them. They got some, you know, when the chips are down, and my quarterback needs to play good when the chips are down. So who knows? I mean, maybe. Look, I don't think Will Howard's the answer either. But, I mean, at this point, if Aaron somehow retires, oh, my gosh, what the fuck are we going to do? Because now it's Drew Aller versus Will Howard. And I'm going to tell you what we're going to do. What we have long wanted was one of two things. You either figure it out, rebuild it on the fly, make the playoffs, and then finally win and move forward. Or you rip it down and say, you know what, we're just going to suck for a year and try to get the quarterback and fix it. Kurt Warner put out on X today that he's not as all-fired confident about next year's draft. Remember, this year was supposed to be the great year of quarterback draft. That's why we had all these picks. We were going to get our guy. Drew Aller wasn't the idea there. And next year, we're still going to be in position in the first round. If Aaron doesn't come back and we only win 5 or 6 games, you know, we're going to be picking somewhere between 10 and 15. And there's a possibility. And if that happens, then, yeah, maybe you get lucky and you get a CJ Carr. Maybe you get lucky. Trace McSorley throw it on a dime. Trace McSorley, oh, that's another one. Oh, gosh. I like Nussmeier over Beck and Aller. Oh, well, yeah. You know, and Nussmeier didn't go off the board. I really thought with the McCarthy connection that Nussmeier might be the pick. You know, look, does he have physical traits? In all fairness, yeah, sure. He's got physical traits. He's 6'5". He's not unathletic. He can run the ball a little bit, and he's got an okay arm. This whole he's got a cannon thing. Come on, just because he threw some balls at the combine. No, he doesn't have an unbelievable arm. You think he has an unbelievable arm? Go watch tape of the Notre Dame playoff game 2 years ago. That's how good his arm is. Okay, he ain't the guy. He's not the guy. I mean, do I hope against hope that somehow he'll figure it out? Sure. If he ever gets on the field, I'm not going to root for him to play bad. I just don't think he's going to play good. So I guess we'll see. But, at least with Will Howard, we can run the option. I mean, there's always that. We could stand in the shotgun like the Giants are going to do with Jackson Dart and maybe do some play action pass and RPOs and things like that. If Mike McCarthy is a quarterback whisperer like he's billed to be, then he's going to get a chance. I don't know what the hell he's going to whisper in their ears, but I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't get it. Now, overall, day one and day two, I do think Max is the starter day one. So I'll probably get more into grades when I have Chris on Monday. And we have the whole complete full picture. But just my gut grade right off the rip, I'd give Max a B-, mostly because we needed a tackle, we got a tackle. I think I would have wanted Casey Concepcion there instead of Max. But I don't hate the Max pick. Bernard. Okay, I'm willing to give it a C. And the only reason I'm giving it a C, because I haven't seen him, actually play NFL football yet, is the speed and the fact that we traded up to get him. I don't understand. He was going to be there at 53. The whole, they snaked Mekhi Lemon from us, so we had to trade up deal. Come on, man. Jeremy Bernard, he might be an excellent talent. He really might be. I mean, maybe receiver is a weird position to call in the second and third rounds. Guys you think are going to be really good, sometimes they'll pan out. In second and third round, there's fourth and fifth rounders. Guys you thought were project at best turn out to be really good. If you had told me Malachi Fields after the 40 he ran, who I'm a Notre Dame fan, I'm actually a big fan of the guy. If you would have told me he goes before Chris Bozell and Chris Bell, I would have said you're crazy. But it did. It happened. Skylar Bell is still on the board, which I am shocked he fell out of day two. I really am. Somber, if you're watching this later, man, if we come back and get him at pick 121, I can start to get into, okay, hey, we've got a nice little double dip on the wide receiver here. I do think if we don't take Skylar Bell at pick 121, that means we get Chris Caldwell later on in the draft. Or I'm sorry, not Chris Caldwell, Jeff Caldwell out of Cincinnati. And I still would love to see us. He's not going to get drafted, but give me Subdakowicz. I think I said it right. I made a point of learning how to say this kid's name because I really, really, really like him. 6'3", 205, FCS wide receiver. He's got some nice things to his game. Skylar in a heartbeat. Yeah, absolutely. If we back this up and all of a sudden you told me that Bernard, who, the reason I like Chris Bell, I put it out earlier today, is I thought he was a bigger, stronger, not stronger. I thought he's a modern day version of a Hines Ward, or as close to a Hines Ward as you can get. There's talk that Bernard reminds people a lot of Hines Ward. Hines Ward wasn't the fastest guy. That is one thing I liked about Chris Bell over not over Hines Ward in general. The player Hines is probably my favorite Steeler in this century. But that being said, Bell had something Hines never had. If you give Bell the ball on a 2-yard route, he can take that to the house. He's got ridiculous top-end speed. The only reason he fell is because of the ACL. And he was not supposed to be back until October, and he's going to be back for training camp. That's a guy we really should have targeted. But we didn't get him. It's spilt milk. It's done. We got to hope Bernard turns out good. You pair him with Skyler Bell in the fourth. I kind of like what we're doing then. I really love the Dunker pick. We met Debo today. Debo Samuel, that's awesome. Or Debo Samuel or James Harrison. Post it in chat so we know. I did. So I like Keontae Scott a lot. He's an excellent tackler. He's more of an outside physical corner, though. The one thing I do like with Everett is he can. Oh, James Harrison. Okay, that's even better than meeting Debo Samuel. James Harrison. I mean, that guy, he's got tree trunks for arms and legs, and yeah. When you go on the defensive side of the ball, yeah. I mean, everybody loves Troy. I love Troy, but James Harrison's probably, I have select guys I like for the Steelers. James Harrison was that big nasty bully. That's always the guy I gravitate towards. I loved Greg Lloyd back in the 90s, one of my favorite Steelers ever. And then going back to the original Jack Lambert, big, nasty, mean, bully linebackers. Yeah, come on. What Steeler fan doesn't love those guys? So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. But, I have always defended Omar Khan. And I'm going to reserve judgment a little bit here, but you have got, I mean, even the staunchest Omar defender here has got to admit this is at best curious and at worst, there's some really horrible bad picks here. Really horrible bad picks here. And that being said, when you actually go back and look at the players individually, it's not the players who are bad. All these guys can turn out to be pretty good. It's where we got them. That's the issue I have. Where we got them. If we got Max at pick 28, or we had traded back into the first part of the second round and got Max there, I love the pick. I like the pick. I love the pick if we had gotten it 5 to 10 picks later and had traded back and picked up capital, not given away capital. Bernard, I'm okay with that pick at 53. I'm not okay with giving up anything to get him. Because, again, like I just said, I'm beating a dead horse. He's the 4th or 5th best receiver on the board at that point, to me. Okay? So now I turn around with Drew Aller. I hate it. Don't like the player, and you picked him 40 picks too high. Everett, okay, he was a borderline third round talent or early 4th round talent. And based on the fact that you're going to pick 121, you want to make sure you get your slot corner. You could make an argument based on slot corner that he was the best available at that point. So I actually kind of like the Dalen Everett pick. I like the pedigree of a Georgia Bulldog at SEC corner. Usually SEC players turn out to be pretty good NFL players, so I'm okay with that pick. And I love Dunker, Iowa kid, guard. Look, if you don't love Jennings Dunker, come on, you ain't a real Steelers fan. I mean, you're not. If you don't love the big mullet and the big guy, come on. You might as well say you hate Ben Skoranek, and we accept no Ben Skoranek slander on this podcast. But I will just say this hasn't been what we hoped it would be. Oh, let's see here. Derpy wants me to look at his paragraph here. So, may not know quarterbacks, but do know the Steelers picked Aller because of all the stupid statements. Okay, that's funny. Okay, I like that. That's funny. So, saying that he's better than Kenny Pickett, that's why he chose him. I mean, in all seriousness, that's a low bar. That's the I'm the tallest midget, contest. And sorry if you think that's politically correct, but hey, I'm an old guy. What are you going to do? Yeah, there's a lot of truth to that, and I'm sure we're going to talk a lot about that on Monday. Oh man, Drew Aller. The thing that sold me on Kenny Pickett back in the day, I was really down on him, but you guys know I live in Jacksonville, and I went to a Jaguars Steelers preseason game, Pickett's second preseason game, and I had a seat right behind the Steelers bench. I was maybe 10 rows back, but he really not so much the game, it's preseason game, who cares? But I wanted to watch how players reacted to him on the sidelines. And you could just see it when it was, okay, he's getting ready to go in second series. And man, everybody's walking over, pumping him up, dapping him up, saying, hey, man, Kenny, let's go, let's go, let's go. You could see there was genuine excitement from the guys that, hey, this guy, this is the guy. We think he's the guy. He turned out not to be the guy, but, you know, Kenny did have a little magic in him in the fourth quarter. So, you know, he's got that going for him right away over Drew Aller. But, you know, and we all know from day one that Kenny was drafted, the Pitt fans loved him. The Penn State fans hated him. This is a good point by Derpy. Now the Penn State fans are going to get their turn with it. Although, if Aaron Rodgers is there, number one, he doesn't get on the field. And if Aaron Rodgers isn't there, God forbid he retires. And I say God forbid because do I want to see a 5-11 season? Hey, look, I've seen one. Okay. And a long time ago, but I've seen them. And yeah, if it got us a draft pick at a quarterback, I'd live through it. I'd still root for the team. I love the guys whether we win or we don't. Luckily, for the last 20 years or so, it's been mostly win. But yeah, I would want to see it. Do I think if it becomes Will Howard versus Drew Aller, which the fan base is going to rip itself apart, then no, I think Will Howard is going to win that competition. I do. I don't think either one of them's any good. But I mean, if you're going to make me choose between the two, I'm going to choose Howard because he's got a little something to his game that I don't think Aller has. So I don't know. I don't know, guys. Look, you know, I will figure out a way to talk myself into this has been a good draft by the time the season starts, but immediate reaction tonight, man, it's hard to find the sunshines and rainbows, but I will find them. I promise. I will find the sunshines and rainbows, and we'll spin this in a positive light. But I'll probably try to get on later tomorrow in the day when the draft's all done and do another little live reaction to what we do in pick 4 and the rest of the draft in the 4th round. And then, of course, on Monday night, Chris and I will be on and we'll grade and break down the whole thing. Everybody will have had a day to breathe and think about it. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, who knows? You know, maybe there's something we don't expect coming. That's, you know, maybe there's a trade out there. Maybe there's a, you know, look, I saw this on X a little while ago, right before I got on. There's some thought that this looks like a rebuilding draft. And I kind of got the feeling, I think Kaboli put out that 2 of the top 3 picks might not play a game. And I do think Max will play. I think Bernard just by default is going to play because unless he's really bad, I mean, he's kind of got wide receiver 3 on lock at this point. I mean, what's his competition? Roman Wilson, who I don't think is going to make the team. Ben Skronik, who I love, but let's face it, Ben Skronik is not a slot receiver. He's a really good special teamer. That's why I think they will draft one more. And I also think they'll bring that kid in from Division II, or they'll bring somebody in at wide receiver. I have a sneaking suspicion Caden Wetjen from Iowa is a guy they might target if they don't go Skylar Bell tomorrow, because Wetjen will probably be there at the end of tomorrow. And he's an interesting, smaller slot, really fast return guy. I could see him being if they don't go Skylar Bell, I could see him in the 6th round being the consolation prize. We'll see. And that's not the worst thing in the world. That kid's got some talent to him too. So that being said, I thank everybody for watching tonight. My earlier rant. Tonight, I'm going to put some stuff out on TikTok, some clips from this. If you haven't liked, subscribed, shared, please do all that. Turn on your notifications. Also, Sports Jedi Network, make sure you go check out Chris and the wrestling stuff. They do great work over there, especially if you're looking for the WrestleMania Fallout and all that good stuff. I'm sure they'll be on tomorrow for their normal show. He had some technical difficulties. He was supposed to be on tonight, but he'll be back on Monday. So, guys, let's all sleep on it. Let's hope for a great pick and pick number early tomorrow afternoon. And talk to you soon.
You better relax.